Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we just had a Smackdown for July 4th. Overall, I think it was a pretty decent show for being one of those that they double film. The 2 hour format, I do not like. I do feel like we got some solid stuff here, but I think it's going to be very hard because there's going to be a bunch of matches that we're just not going to get, or we're going to get a bunch of just random like squash matches to like make the match cards look bigger when they have a lot of promos. But like even the promos just feel like they kind of have to shoehorn a lot of them in. And maybe they'll get the formula down. I don't think it was necessarily bad. I just think that there's some stuff lacking, and there's going to be a lot of people that just kind of miss out on it because of this. So we'll start off the show. Obviously, it started very first with Solo getting attacked in the parking lot by Jacob Fatu, which leads to a later thing. I was going to put that in there, but it's just the meme of him getting stuck in the car window, which was great. But the show officially started with Cody Rhodes coming down talking about winning King of the Ring and that he's ready to go take on John Cena at SummerSlam, and that then Randy Orton came down and basically he's like, "You gotta beat him. You know, I had you beat, but it's your time to beat him." I think I like it. I mean, I think it's going to be setting up a good rivalry between Cody and Randy right after that. I think that would be a really good match to revisit. And then Drew McIntyre tried to come down and set them against each other. So we'll go with the Cody Rhodes whole thing first. I thought that was pretty good. I would put it up in S tier. It was a good way to start off the show. Made it hot, and it makes it seem like he might actually be able to challenge John Cena and do something decent. I still don't think he's got any shot of winning, but I guess we'll see when it gets closer. But Drew McIntyre coming down and trying to set them against each other, I thought was also pretty good. It's a classic Drew move, and it led to Randy Orton RKOing him, which is always a fun thing. So I also put that up in S tier. And then later on in the show, it led to them having a Saturday Night Main Event match. Now, these are the type of matches I don't mind being on Saturday Night Main Event because the whole thing is like they want to make it big and they put title matches, but unless it's a mid card title, there is never going to be a title that switches on Saturday Night Main Event. I guarantee it. It has to be like the women's mid card. I don't even think the men's mid card would change on it because it's just that type of thing. It's just a glorified house show that we get to see. But you can have fun matchups like this, like the Seth Rollins LA Knight, this one, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. I think there's going to be all just fun matches to put on there that we're actually going to see just two kind of heavyweights going at it. That's kind of what I rather use Saturday Night Main Event for. So I like that. I'm putting it up in S tier. I'm excited for that match. It's very nice to be able to see Randy Orton in any type of match. Then we had our first actual match of the night, which was the women's tag match. It was Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus the Secret Herbis versus Micho and BFAB. Now we already knew this was going to be an easy win for like Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. I mean, there was no doubt in my mind that they were going to be the tag team. They've been hinting at it for a bit, and it's the star power. Those two are humongous to put in there. So they need to be on the card, and putting them in the battle royale kind of is dumb. So at least putting them in this gauntlet of tag teams, it's going to be at least that they're going to be on the card. I don't know if they'd win. I could definitely see them doing that. I think it would really fumble up the Judgment Day storyline a little bit, but honestly, I don't have a problem with it. But a makeshift tag team beating three or two other kind of more legit tag teams is always just kind of terrible for the tag team division, as you'll see later on with the men's too. I feel like it's the same way. It's a little rough, but overall, I thought the match was not that great. They just none of them had timing, and there was a lot of just ugly looking moves, and the crowd was just completely dead in it too, which it does not really. I'm not really saying anything bad against the crowd because this was their second show because they had two shows back to back, so it is a little hard to get in it, but they just really didn't seem to have it there. So I'm gonna put it down and C. It was entertaining, but I don't really think, other than it just being a part to a longer storyline, that there's really any reason why it was in there. Then we had like the Wyatt Sick versus one of each of the tag teams that they're feuding with. I thought it was a pretty decent idea. The match itself, I thought was okay. I definitely feel like they could have really done a lot more with it. The ending was kind of just ass with like Gargano being scared and all that, even though he was leading the charge. And I don't know. It's just it's a cowardly heel thing to do, which is valid. But this whole like matchup just kind of makes the tag division look rough because it's the newest tag team or second newest tag team coming in there, and they kind of just running laps around all of these guys. The match itself I thought was, pretty decent. I think I put it in B. I think I originally was putting it in C, but they did have some nice spots in it, and they did actually do some good work. It's just, unfortunately, kind of how it goes sometimes. Then we had Tiffany come down and talk about she gets to pick her opponent. Everybody's like, that's not a bad idea. I mean, it's lazy writing because they have no rivalries for anybody going in there. But her picking Trish Stratus, it works. I don't necessarily feel like I like it as much, but you have to have somebody that one is beatable and two that's not that big of a threat that you're picking that you feel like the title's going to drop because she already has a title match against Jade at SummerSlam. So it makes it a little bit more difficult that they had to pick somebody. I'm not really opposed against this. So I'll put it in A. I think it'll be okay. I don't think the match will be that great, but I'm fine with the match itself existing. Then we had Naomi attack Jade in the back. Jade was also down there during this whole thing, which was, just kind of odd. But Naomi attacked her in the back. She has a new briefcase. I think the briefcase is top tier. I put that up in S tier. And so the attack in the S tier and the briefcase, I'd also, yeah, all of it goes up in the S tier. Then they announced that Cargill and Naomi will have a match at Evolution. A tricky match here because the problem is you're going to kill somebody's momentum pretty bad. There's no way Jade loses this. Just throw that out there. It has to be like really. It would have to be a really bad like interference with her doing something. And honestly, I feel like the best bet would be Naomi cheating and beating the crap out of Jade Cargill, and then Bianca coming down to save her, setting up Bianca and Naomi at SummerSlam. That would be my way of playing it if you're gonna do it. But like Jade really doesn't need the loss here. It has to be like a no contest or a DQ, like something nasty where she hits her with a chair and gets caught. Even just like the cheating win seems really bad for Cargill when that she has a title match at SummerSlam. It just feels bad to have that. But I do like the match, so I'm gonna put it up in A. I'm just a little disappointed that something's going to be bad. Like it's going to kill somebody's momentum. Then we had the match of the night, Fraxium versus Ray Phoenix and Andrade. I absolutely thought this match rocked. I knew it was going to. My main caveat, I guess, to the overall match itself was just the ending. I mean, I feel like Fraxium shouldn't have just picked up an L here for no reason. It just it's not the call. I mean, they're one of the top tag teams in the world, and to just lose to a team that's only on their second match is kind of crazy. Like losing to a veteran team, or like losing to like when they had no contest against the Street Profits. But if they lost to the tag team champs, it's not that big of a deal. But it feels like they just lost all their momentum, and now they're at the back of the line. As Andrade and Ray Phoenix is probably the next up after whoever wins the Wyatt Sick and Street Profits match. So I did think the match was absolutely good. The way it ended, like with having that, I think is just kind of bad. So I think I'll put it in A. I don't know if I could justify it putting an S. And there was a few things in the match itself that didn't go according to plan. Nothing too crazy, but it definitely did break up a little bit of the flow of the match. But I still think it was a really solid match and match of the night for sure. Next up, we had the main event, which was Solo and JC Mateo versus Jimmy and Jacob Fatu. I liked it. I do think Jacob Fatu should be building a faction. Maybe you can get Jimmy in there, maybe get Zilla. I think something like that would actually really be cool. I mean, I know we've hinted at that for a while now, and we should get more Samoans in there. So I think all of that would be great ideas. So I think if that's where they're leading, I'm down for this rivalry. I think the match itself was okay. Obviously, we were going to have just a lot of craziness of being like back and forth and stuff outside the ring, inside the ring. And I think altogether, everybody was pretty competent in it. I like seeing Jimmy out there. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Uso, but he doesn't get the screen time as much as he deserves. I mean, he's good on the mic and he's good with that. And I think him and Jimmy, him and Jacob Fatu will be a good pair. But I hope they explore maybe having this be a bigger thing and possibly even building a War Games match out of this. This could easily be a War Games match if Roman's coming back around that time and stuff like that, because obviously, that's kind of where the natural progression to a lot of this is. I put it in B. Solid way to end the show. Not anything too crazy, but yeah. And then the last, but surely not least, ignore the last picture, but we had next week's show. Now that we only have 4 matches, when they advertise like 2 matches, it's going to be majority of the show. It's Aleister Black and R-Truth versus or Aleister Black versus R-Truth, and then also the Wide Sick versus the Street Profits for the tag team titles. Going to be a no contest in that one for sure. I guarantee it because they're going to attack the Wide Sick. But I do think it's going to be a decent match. So on the scale of excitement for next week's SmackDown, I'll probably put it in a B. Nothing too crazy. It's going to be a show before two PLEs. So I don't think there's going to be much of it except for just enough to get through whatever they're going to be doing. So I don't think anything's too crazy on this match or this card, but we'll see. 2 hours again is kind of rough. I put this one into high B plus. I know I have a lot of the segments up higher, but a lot of the segments are all just the promos. The matches itself, I only have one in A, and yeah, it kind of makes it a little rough when you only have 4 matches on the card. Now Raw has the same thing and has got a formula pretty good to figuring it out. So I do think SmackDown's going to figure it out, but I feel like the struggling with going to 2 hours. I think people like Carmelo Hayes and stuff like that are going to get those boots where you're not going to get that extra spot where they would get an extra match. Even like R-Truth and Aleister Black, like there's going to be a few mid card guys that are not going to get that absolute like showing. You know, Damian Priest might be somebody too that kind of gets lost in the shuffle. They did have a little bit of a backstage segment, but I don't know match wise what you do with all those people. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it goes because it's always interesting. But yeah, that was SmackDown. If you guys like these reviews, I try to put up SmackDown, Raw, and Evolve, and I'm trying to maybe do NXT. The first episode I did for NXT did really well, so I think I probably will continue until, I can do my best to do it. It's just such a tricky day for that one. But if you guys enjoyed this, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.